Most people think dividends are free money. You buy a stock, the company pays you cash, and you get richer. Simple, right? Not quite. There are 5 things about dividends that most beginners get completely wrong, and getting even one of them wrong could cost you real money. Quick disclaimer, this is not investment advice. I am documenting my own investing journey. Do your own research before investing. So what actually is a dividend? A dividend is a portion of a company's profits that gets paid directly to shareholders. Not all companies do this. Growth companies like tech startups tend to reinvest all their profits back into the business, but established companies, especially in sectors like insurance, banking, and utilities, often pay a chunk of their earnings straight back to the people who own their shares. Think of it this way: you own a small piece of the company. When the company makes money, it shares some of that money with you. That is a dividend. The amount you receive depends on how many shares you own and how much the company decides to pay per share. Legal & General, for example, pays its dividend in 2 parts, an interim of around 6 pence per share and a final of around 15 pence. That adds up to roughly 21 pence per share per year. If you own 50 shares, that is about £10 coming your way. No extra work, just for holding the stock. Now, here is where most people get confused: the ex-dividend date. This is the cutoff. If you own shares before the ex-dividend date, you get the dividend. If you buy on or after that date, you do not. You have to wait for the next one. Here is how the timeline works. First, the company announces the dividend and sets the ex-dividend date. Then, on that date, the share price typically drops by roughly the amount of the dividend. That is because the value of that payment has now left the company. Then, a few weeks later, the actual cash lands in your account. This is why dividends are not free money. The share price adjusts. You are essentially receiving your own money back in a different form. The real value comes from companies that grow their dividends over time, not from any single payment. Different companies pay dividends on different schedules. In the UK, most large companies pay twice a year: an interim dividend halfway through the year and a final dividend after the annual results. Some pay quarterly, a few pay annually. If you are building an income portfolio, knowing the payment schedule matters. You can spread your investments across companies that pay at different times of the year, creating a more regular income stream. Next up, dividend yield. This is the number you will see quoted everywhere. It tells you what percentage of the share price you get back in dividends each year. The formula is simple: annual dividend per share divided by the current share price times 100. So if a company pays 20 pence per share and the shares cost 250 pence, the yield is 8%. But here is the trap: a high yield does not always mean a good investment. Sometimes the yield is high because the share price has fallen, which could be a warning sign. Always ask why the yield is high before buying. This brings us to the number I think every dividend investor should know: dividend cover. Dividend cover tells you whether the company can actually afford to pay the dividend. It is calculated by dividing earnings per share by the dividend per share. A cover ratio of 2 means the company earns double what it pays out. That is comfortable. Plenty of room for a bad quarter without touching the dividend. A ratio of 1 means every penny of profit goes to dividends. No safety margin at all. And below 1? The company is paying more in dividends than it earns. That is a red flag. When I analysed Legal & General for my last video, the dividend cover was sitting around 1. That is tight. The yield is attractive, but the margin for error is thin. That is the kind of thing you need to check before buying any dividend stock. Now here is where it gets exciting. Dividend reinvestment, sometimes called DRIP. Instead of taking your dividend payment as cash, you use it to buy more shares. Those extra shares then pay their own dividends, which buy more shares, which pay more dividends. This is the compounding snowball effect. It starts small, painfully small, but over years and decades, it accelerates dramatically. Einstein reportedly called compound interest the 8th wonder of the world. Whether he actually said that or not, the maths backs it up. Most trading platforms, including Trading 212, which I use, let you turn on automatic dividend reinvestment. I would strongly recommend doing this if you are investing for the long term. The key is patience. In the first year, your reinvested dividends might only buy you 1 or 2 extra shares. It feels like nothing, but by year 5, those extra shares are earning their own dividends, which are buying more shares. By year 10, the growth curve starts to bend upward noticeably. The people who build real wealth from dividends are the ones who start early and never stop reinvesting. Let us talk about tax. In the UK, you get a dividend allowance of £500 per year. Any dividends above that are taxed at 8.75% for basic rate taxpayers. But inside a stocks and shares ISA, 0. No tax on dividends, no tax on capital gains, nothing. Up to £20,000 per year can go into an ISA, and everything inside it grows completely tax-free. You do not even need to declare it on your tax return. As far as HMRC is concerned, money inside an ISA does not exist. If you are investing in dividends without an ISA, you are giving money to the taxman for no reason. This is genuinely one of the best tax advantages available to UK investors. And here is the thing people forget. The ISA advantage compounds. The tax you save in year 1 gets reinvested and earns its own returns. Over 20 years, the difference between investing inside an ISA and outside one can be tens of thousands of pounds. It is not just a nice to have. It is essential. Before we wrap up, here are the 5 most common mistakes I see beginners make with dividends. 1. Chasing high yields without checking dividend cover. A 10% yield means nothing if the company cuts it next quarter. 2. Ignoring the ex-dividend date and buying too late. You need to own the shares before that date, not on it. 3. Taking dividends as cash instead of reinvesting. If you do not need the income right now, reinvest. Let compounding do its thing. 4. Investing outside an ISA when you have allowance left. £20,000 of tax-free investing every year. Use it. 5. Only looking at 1 year of dividend history. A company that has grown its dividend for 15 years straight is a very different proposition from one that only started paying last year. Track record matters enormously. So, where does my portfolio stand? I have £200 invested across 2 stocks. £120 in Legal & General at around 8.5% yield and £80 in Aviva at around 6.7%. My first dividend from Legal & General should arrive in early June, roughly £7.46 for the final dividend. It is not much. But this is month 1. Every month, another 200 goes in. And every dividend gets reinvested. The snowball is rolling. I use Trading 212 for my stocks and shares ISA. No trading fees, fractional shares so you can invest any amount, and automatic dividend reinvestment built in. It is the platform you see in every screenshot on this channel. I will leave my referral link in the description. That is everything you need to know about how dividends work. If you found this useful, subscribe. I'm releasing a new video every week documenting this entire journey from zero. Next month, I'm adding another £200 and possibly a 3rd stock to the portfolio. I cannot wait to show you which one I pick. Drop a comment and tell me, what was the one thing in this video you did not know before? I am reading every single one. Until next time, happy investing.